Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're zeroing in on a single piece of hardware. It might look pretty simple, but trust me, it packs some capabilities we think you'll find genuinely interesting.
Yeah, our focus is the WolfPack 10-button keypad. It's specifically for their Matrix systems. We've been digging into the product page, the features, specs, FAQs, even how people are using it. So our mission really is to cut through the tech talk and figure out how this keypad delivers such a versatile, kind of powerful control solution, especially for those complex AV setups. Sometimes the simplest things are the most capable, right? Okay, let's unpack this thing. At its heart, the WolfPack 10-button keypad was an IP-enabled controller from HDTV Supply's WolfPack brand. Now, if you're maybe newer to AV, a matrix switcher is like the brain of the operation. It takes lots of inputs, Blu-rays, laptops, whatever, and sends any of them to any screen or projector. It gets complex fast. This keypad gives you a simple way to manage that, especially presets. Price-wise, it's sitting around $250.
And good news, if you're interested, it usually seems to be in stock, ships pretty quickly, like 3 to 4 days.
Right. And I think it's important to ask, why have a physical keypad, in a world full of apps? Well, for managing these sophisticated matrix switchers, especially in Pro AV, having something tactile, something physical, it's often not just nice to have, it's essential. For reliability, intuitive use, it just makes things simpler, less prone to error.
Yeah, that makes sense. And okay, here's where it gets really interesting. It does more than just presets. The source material says it can send commands for signal switching, saving, and recalling presets, even like turning the matrix beep on or off. But this bit caught my eye. Bi-directional commands. What does that actually mean in practice? Does it talk back?
Precisely. Think of it like a regular remote is just shouting commands. Bidirectional is a conversation. The keypad tells a projector turn on, and the projector can actually reply, okay, I'm on, or hey, there's an error. That feedback is crucial in professional systems. You know the command worked. And what's fascinating here is how that expands its use. It's not just talking to the matrix switcher itself. It can control other things, projectors, screens, TVs, through its RS-232 or its LAN port. So suddenly this isn't just an accessory for the matrix. It can be like the main control point for a whole room's AV gear. Pretty powerful for its size and cost.
Right. So we know what it is, what it does.
Yeah.
But how does it actually work? The power and the connection stuff. Let's look under the hood a bit. First off, PoE design. Power over Ethernet. That means no separate power brick, right? It gets power from the network switch itself. And they mention you can use a PoE to LAN adapter if you're plugging straight into a matrix that maybe doesn't have PoE built in.
Yeah.
So for people managing bigger installs, what's the real win with PoE beyond just, fewer cables?
Well, it's huge for installation, massively cuts down cabling costs and complexity, especially if you're putting these into existing buildings where running new power outlets is a real pain or just expensive. One cable for power and data. Simple.
Okay.
And speaking of simple installation, this keypad can be located, get this, up to 450 feet away from the matrix switch, just using standard Cat 6 or Cat 7 cable. That's a long way, gives you a ton of flexibility on where you place it.
450 feet.
Yeah. And then there's the connectivity. It supports both TCP/IP, network control, and the classic RS-232 serial communication.
Ah, the standards.
Exactly. TCP/IP for network reach, RS-232 for that direct, super reliable link often needed for specific gear. And the docs say you can use any number of these keypads with a PoE Ethernet switch.
Any number. Okay, that raises a question then. How does that scale? What does that mean for, say, a big building project?
That's a really significant point. The PoE, the long cable reach, the dual protocols, it makes these incredibly scalable. Think commercial buildings, university campuses. You can put these exactly where needed, room by room, without needing a massive, complex, and probably expensive central control system for every single zone. The any number part means you can really decentralize control, put a simple, dedicated interface in every room if you want.
Okay, so it's technically robust. But what about using it day to day? The user experience, the customization. It's got 10 programmable buttons. And the programming, it says, is done easily through a web GUI. So like a web page interface, simple enough. Layout's a 2x5 grid, and they've thought about the user too. The buttons are backlit, which is always helpful. And it comes with 58 pre-made labels. That saves a lot of setup time, I bet.
Definitely. Little things like that matter.
Yeah. And it mentions the buttons are soft silicone, very silent, and they flash when you press them. Nice feedback. Physically, it's small, like a 1.77 by 4.16 inches, just over an inch deep. Weighs like almost nothing, 0.4 pounds. Easy to pop into a standard US or UK wall panel.
Compact and unobtrusive, yeah.
So let's make this more concrete. The source material gives some real-world examples. There's one about a yacht.
Yes, the yacht example.
Yeah, using multiple keypads, one for each of 4 rooms, just to change inputs on the matrix. What does that tell us, beyond just being, a cool location?
It highlights reliability in high-stakes environments. On a yacht, you need controls that just work. No messing with apps, no Wi-Fi dependence, physical, robust. It's about seamless operation where failure isn't really an option.
Right. Luxury meets reliability.
Exactly. And that same need for simplicity and reliability applies elsewhere. Conference rooms, classrooms, training centers, places where people need to walk in and just make the AV work without thinking.
And the FAQs give even more ideas. Controlling a presentation switcher, like their BYOD 8200, or a 2x2 video wall handling the splicing, turning it on-off, managing a 4x4 matrix for sources, presets, even the beep, or even a 3x3 video wall switching modes, controlling independent screens, power. Assuming the wall itself talks RS-232 or TCP/IP, of course.
And connecting that back to the any number idea and the PoE switch, it really paints a picture of simplified large-scale control. Imagine that university campus again. Instead of one hugely complex central system trying to manage everything, you deploy these cost-effective keypads locally. It's decentralized, more flexible, probably more resilient too. If one keypad has an issue, it doesn't take down the whole building's AV. Much easier to manage and troubleshoot.
Okay, so putting it all together, where does this keypad fit in the grand scheme of controlling these WolfPack systems? HDTV Supply says they have dozens of ways to control their matrix switchers. They have free apps, web GUIs, buttons on the front touchscreens, even specialized DirecTV controllers, drivers for big control systems like Control4, Crestron, RTI, the list goes on.
Right.
So with all those sophisticated options available, what's the unique selling point of this seemingly simple 10-button keypad? Why choose this?
That's the perfect question, because while apps and big control systems are powerful, sometimes you just need a button, a dedicated physical button right there on the wall. The keypad's advantage is exactly that. It's a dedicated, physical, customizable, localized control point. It doesn't replace the other options necessarily, but it complements them beautifully. It provides dead simple, intuitive control right where you need it. Less thinking for the user, fewer potential problems. Sometimes simpler is just better for the person actually using the room.
Makes sense. Dedicated and simple. And just quickly, for reliability on the hardware itself, it comes with a 2-year WolfPack Care warranty, advanced replacement, which is good. And you can get longer 3- or 5-year warranties if needed, so they seem to stand behind it.
Standard practice for pro AV gear, but good to know it's there.
So yeah, wrapping this up, what looks like just a basic 10-button keypad is actually punching way above its weight. It's not just buttons. It's this flexible, surprisingly user-friendly tool for taming complex AV setups, from yachts to conference rooms, that PoE design, the long reach, the smart communication.
Yeah.
It really does seem like a solid solution for simplifying things.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for you, the listener. As you go about your day, think about other tech-heavy places you interact with. Where could a simple, physical, customizable interface like this make things easier? Are there opportunities being missed for straightforward control, not just in fancy AV rooms, but maybe even in your own digital life? How could a dedicated programmable solution change the game? Something to chew on.